Welcome everyone to Who's Your Band. I don't know why I'm screaming, but I'm Jeffrey Paul. I'm joined by Sean Morton. How are you, Sean?
I don't know why you're screaming either, but
Yeah,
we'll have to
who
deal
am I,
with that.
Hillary Clinton?
I don't know. I think you may need a fucking hearing aid.
Yeah. No, I don't know why I'm screaming. I don't know. The thing is, it's a beautiful day out today. The Jets won. I went for a victory swim in my pool. Maybe got a little bit of water in the ear. I don't know.
Giants won today.
Giants won.
Judge just hit 2 home runs.
What is he at?
He's at 59 right now.
Ooh, it's getting close.
He's getting close. And I was just saying to my friend before, the only thing I wish about this was that he had about 20 less strikeouts. If he had about 20 less strikeouts, he'd have a great chance of wiping Barry Bonds off the friggin' record list.
Is Judge the American League MVP?
It's hard, dude. I think so here's the deal. Right now, he has the home runs and the RBIs, and he's only 1 point behind in the batting average for the Triple Crown as of right now. I think if he gets the Triple Crown, you have to give it to him. But Ohtani is just,
you have to give it to him.
Ohtani is just a monster. He is an absolute monster. And I think after this season, depending on how good the Yankees do in the postseason, Judge is probably going to get an offer of about, I'm going to say, a 10-year, $480 million contract.
Just give him $1 billion.
Well, if you want my honest opinion, I don't think the Yankees have a lock on him re-signing.
I think you're right.
I don't think, and I'll tell you the two teams that I think have a good shot at picking him up is the Anaheim Angels. Can you imagine Ohtani and him on the same team?
No, and
they have the money to do it.
It's not that. It's that they have Anthony Rendon, they have Trout, they have Ohtani. Even if they have plenty of hitting, they don't have any pitching.
Yeah, well, except Ohtani.
They do this every single year. This is a team that needs pitching. But who's your other team?
San Francisco Giants.
That's the team that would worry me too.
Yeah, because that's his home team.
And they have the money.
Exactly. So I don't know. I think they dangle 10-year, 480 and make him captain. I think he stays. I think I think the captain thing is a big thing. And there's not a lot of people are making a lot of stink about it, but I think it's a very big thing.
Any chance he goes to the Mets?
No.
The Mets have the money.
He stays in New York. No matter he stays in New York, he's a Yankee. But I don't know. I'm on the fence. I was leaning more towards San Francisco for a while, but I'm pulling it back a little bit now, and I'm thinking he might just resign. I hope he resigns.
It's good. Did they win today, by the way?
When I went downstairs to my office, they were winning 12-8 in the bottom of the ninth against Milwaukee, but they had runners. They had the bases loaded, so I don't know. I'm going to check real quick. They won 12-8.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to throw a trivia question at you.
Shoot.
And see if you can get it. What movie is this from? Milwaukee, meaning
Wayne's World. Alice Cooper talking to Wayne and Garth backstage. Yes.
Yes.
You didn't even finish your fucking statement, dude.
I'm glad I didn't have to. I think I would have been disappointed if you didn't get it.
I've seen Wayne's World probably 75 times, probably. It's one of my favorite movies. I love that movie.
The way he says it, and always anytime I say Milwaukee, I always say Milwaukee.
Oh, I do too. And I smack myself every time I say it too.
It's one of those things. But anyway, we have a fun show today. This is a show that I look forward to. This is a hard show because what we're doing today is we are going to count down, in our opinion, the top 10 Metallica songs to do, which is almost an impossible feat. I mean, to limit it to 10 Metallica songs. But this is going to be our lists. And, folks, tell us what you think. Put it in the comments. We would like to hear what your list compared to ours. So, Sean, why don't you start us off first? And we'll count down. So we'll go from 10 to 1. Start with number 10.
So on this podcast, I like to think that I'm a little bit of the wild card when it comes to these lists and things like that. You're kind of more of you can either go deep cut or you could be very basic as far as like the top hits. I don't think you're going to be basic with this one, but I'm going out of the gate But the first pick at number 10 is something that everybody is going to say, what the fuck are you talking about? I picked Frantic off of Saint Anger.
I had a feeling you were going to pick that.
It's a great song. Now, here's the thing about this song. Everybody hates this album because they got a little experimental. Lars used this ridiculous snare that was really hollow and things like that. Take Metallica out of this album. And if this is somebody's debut record, it's a great debut record. But because it's Metallica, it gets shit on a lot. The way it was recorded, very, very different. If you go on YouTube, there's two different, I don't know if it's the same kid, but they take Saint Anger and replace it with a real snare drum. And the kid records the whole album all over again with a real snare. And it sounds totally different. Cool. And then I don't know if it's the same kid or not, but another guy takes Injustice for All and actually puts a bass in that album. And when you put bass in that album, it's another completely different record because they freely admitted that they turned down the bass on that record. So I am going with Frantic. I think it's got a great riff. I think it's got a great drum beat. Even with that weird snare, I tend to like that song. I keep it on my Metallica playlist.
All right. Not on my list. And okay. Now, I had let people know that we are recording this and we're doing the Metallica top 10. And someone just texted me, why are you guys doing a Metallica top 10? Here's the reason. Very, very simple. This is a band that has been around for over 40 years that are still at the top of their game. Yep. They are selling out stadiums. You know, this is a band that has not lost. You know, we were just talking baseball. They haven't lost anything off their fastball. They are still maybe the biggest act in the world. Okay, concert act. They are playing. They don't play arenas. They play stadiums and sell them out, and they're still phenomenal. So yeah, that's the reason why we do Metallica. Yep. And I'll go with my number 10 pick. This is one of two songs that I picked off of Ride the Lightning, and it is Fade to Black.
Okay, not on my list. And I'm gonna preface by saying,
make it.
First of all, I'm not a fan of that song. Number two, I only have one record that has 2 entries, and the rest are all single off of different albums.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, I love Fade to Black. There was so many. It was hard to make the cut, and I was like, I can't leave this song off. But at the same time, I didn't know where to put it on the list. It was my last pick on because I was debating between a couple of other songs. But yeah, I love the song.
It's not a bad pick. It's not a bad pick. It's just not one of my favorites on that record. Just not even Metallica, not even on that record, which is my favorite record, Ride the Lightning.
It's a great record. The thing about Metallica is, man, they are aggressive. They're heavy. You know, they're consistent. And I like that they change and that they experiment.
I do too. I do too. What do you want to do? AC/DC and put the same album out for 45 years? No, yeah. Sorry. I like the way they
when you do it right. But no, but I do. I'm along for the ride. Like, you know, so if I don't like that, Metallica is also one of these bands that will come out with another record. You're now waiting 15 years between albums.
Yeah.
So they're constantly working. All right. So that was my number 10, Fade to Black.
So number 9 for me. Again, definitely you don't have this on your list. I know this for a fact. I was a big fan of this record, even though it got shit on a lot. I picked Fuel off of Reload.
I fucking knew it. I was gonna say I knew it was gonna be off of a load of it.
Yeah, I love that. I don't hate those records at all. And I'll tell you the reason why I picked Fuel. I always liked this song. But I was a fan of just downloading music for a very, very long time. And now I have switched over to Apple Music. So I play random playlists off the rock and metal and stuff like that. Almost every playlist has this song. And it just, I couldn't figure out, like, why are you picking this song? And then I really listened to it. It's a good song. And I think it's a carryover of a lot of the old school Metallica with a little bit of the new school into it. And it's on, I swear to God, 35 Apple Music playlists. It's insane.
It's catchy for Metallica.
Yeah.
For Metallica, if you were going to have 45 still, this would be a Metallica 45. Well, obviously, they're not going to put out the same stuff as Imagine Dragons does.
No.
But in Metallica world, and you only have a limited choice of what you can put out as a single, I think Fuel would be one of those songs. Yeah, it's a good song. It's catchy. It has a hook.
Yeah, I agree 100%. It's a great song.
Now I would hope you would have this one. And this is off of an album I love. I love Master of Puppets. I have a couple of songs off of here as well. And it's Welcome Home Sanitarium.
Nope.
Oh, Sean, I would for sure you would have this on there.
Nope. Do not have it on my list.
It's such a wicked, cool song. It's dark and
is it wicked cool, Jeff?
I mean like wicked. Like,
did you move to Boston?
Not in a Boston sense. I mean like wicked. It's dark. You listen to this and wearing black. This has no shot at being played on AM radio.
Yeah, but this is what I knew was going to happen. I was going to go a little more diverse, and you were going to have. I'm going to guess. Now, you can give me the answer. You don't have to tell me what they are. I'm going to guess that out of your 10, you have 6 songs between Master of Puppets and Ride of Lightning.
No.
Am I close?
You're in the ballpark.
Yeah, 5. Okay. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's a great song. It's a great song, and I'm going to tell you, I had 16 songs written, and that was one I cut off. But yeah,
I'm a little surprised. I really thought you would dig that. Okay, we're up to number 8. So far
8.
We've done 2, and we haven't had an overlap yet.
Yeah, I figured it was going to be that way through like 10 to 5. I think we're going to have a couple similar ones towards the top 5. But again, this is a very different record for them. I wasn't a huge fan of it in the very beginning. It grew on me greatly afterwards. I picked King Nothing off of Load.
Oh, you know something? I love that song.
And I forgot about it.
I forgot about it.
Yeah, I mean, it came out on the Mission Impossible soundtrack.
Nothing.
Yeah, it's
a great one.
It's a great song. Very radio friendly. It was off a Mission Impossible soundtrack, and then they put it onto Load when they released Load. That was one of those controversial album covers with like the blood and semen. If you remember that.
Yeah.
No, I think it's a great song, and it's one of their better ones live when they play it too. I mean, the last time I saw them, they rocked it, and the place went fucking electric.
It's a great song. It is. Again, much like Fuel, another song with a hook. I think later on, when you start to get out of the 80s and into the early 2000s, I think Metallica, they started to make a little bit more radio friendly songs.
Sure, of course, and that happens with everybody. But I mean, it really started with with one off of Injustice for All. It was the first video they ever did, and that kind of brought them out into the mainstream. Kind of like one of those bands everybody in the world heard of them, but nobody saw them. Like unless you were a fan, you didn't know what they looked like. You didn't know any of this stuff.
And people didn't know how to pronounce it. I remember this guy saying, "You like that band Metallica?"
Ugh, I hate people who say that shit too. I really do. But I think it's a great song. I really do. And I don't know. I'm interested to see now. Now I think we're getting into nitty gritty. I think now we're going to start seeing a couple things that we're going to jive with.
Well, number 8, or at least we're on the same album, because I'm going to go with Till It Sleeps.
It was a toss up for me between that and King Nothing. So I really wanted to try and keep it to one song per record. I really did. I couldn't. There was one album I couldn't do that to. So
there are a couple albums that you can't do that to.
Well, I did. I pulled it off.
Yeah. But I mean, Till It Sleeps, I remember that was being sold on not a single, but it was a single CD.
Yeah.
Right. So you had 45s, you had singles that were shit.
And then you had CD singles too.
Right. And then you had CD singles. I remember seeing that in the store. I was like, why wouldn't you just get the whole album? It's Metallica. But I remember that was the single, Till It Sleeps. Yeah, I remember that being played on FM radio all the time. And that was a great one.
I'll tell you though, the reason why they do the CD singles was because they would always throw an extra different kind of track on there that wasn't on the regular album. So sometimes they put a live track on there, or they do like an instrumental or a B track. Pearl Jam was known for that, and I had them. And I threw them all away. There was like there was a great song called "Dissident"
Oh,
off
sure, of
of
course.
Verses, and they had 3 different CD single versions of it, and all 3 had 5 live tracks from a concert. So you had to buy all 3 to get the full live concert.
It's good marketing, but also I think that you got to remember that was also, these songs are all before streaming.
Oh, sure.
Okay, so you couldn't, now it's like if you see artists release songs, and it's almost rarely they'll release the album first. There's always a couple songs that get leaked. It's very easy, right? Like I think in the world we live in now, I don't think people have the stamina for full albums. I thought that was part of the problem with the last Maiden album that came out. They recorded during the pandemic. They have all the time in the world. They write a bunch of stuff. They release a double album. Who in this day and age has the time, or like I said, the stamina to sit there and listen to a double album?
Well, real fans do, not your, Johnny come lately kind of fans. I mean, look at the Red Hot Chili Peppers. They just put out a double album 7 months ago. They're touring it. They have another double album coming out in October. How do you write 4 albums worth of material in a year and a half?
It's like comedy. You have comedians that, famous ones that will put out a new hour special every year. And you know what? It's not always good.
Correct.
100%.
100%.
And I think that's true with the music as well. Like Louis used to come out with a new hour special once every 2 years, and they were always killer.
Yep.
Then he came out once a year, and they weren't quite as good. Then he went back to coming out once every 2 years, and everything he's been putting out recently has been amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's been a lot of young girls in his dressing room since then. I'm not a fan of Louis anymore since then.
Okay, go to your number 7 pick.
Number 7. All right, here's where it starts getting a little different for me. I love this song. It's a cover. It's on Garage Inc.
See, I purposely didn't put covers on.
I did, because this is one of those ones that people don't even realize is a cover. They think it's a Metallica song, but it's not.
Yeah, I know where you're going with
I went with Bread Fan.
Where'd you go with?
Bread Fan.
Oh, I know it. You got me.
Really? What would you think I was going to say?
Whiskey in a jar.
I almost did.
Whiskey in a jar.
Jarro. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that song. I hate the traditional Irish version of it. I'm not a huge fan of that one either.
You like Thin Lizzy's version?
I like Thin Lizzy a lot. Let me tell you something. I will say Don Jameson got me hooked on Thin Lizzy, because I really didn't know shit about that band until he really was like pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. I gave them a listen, and man, they were one of the most underrated bands I have ever heard in my life.
You be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
100%. Oh God, here we're going with this again. But Bread Fan is great. And then if you listen to it, it's by a band named Budgie, originally in the 70s. Then Metallica does it. But then if you listen to Around the World by the Red Hot Chili Peppers, they steal the bass line. The bass line intro is completely stolen from Bread Fan.
Oh, Chili Peppers stole.
Chili Peppers stole it from Metallica, note for note. It's absolutely note for note. So check that out after the show, and it'll make you think a little less of a Chili Peppers.
I'm not a big Chili Peppers fan.
I love the Chili Peppers.
I think they're way overrated.
No, they're a great band. They're a great band. It's one of those bands I've never seen live too, which is one I had to fix that. That's definitely got to happen. Let me just tell you something that's been bothering me for about a week. Okay. I did a podcast with our friends from War for the Crown. They had this podcast called Not These Two Fucking Guys podcast. It's a lot of fun. They've been on our show. I've been on their show 3 times. I was a little under the influence, let's just say. I have a cicada in my basement somewhere. This fucker won't die. He doesn't do anything until I'm down here doing podcasts. He's quiet. He's silent until I start talking. And then this fucking thing won't stop for an hour, and it's driving me insane. Do you hear it?
No.
So you got to screw around with me too, because what they did, they knew that I was a little high, and they were like, "Oh no, we don't hear anything." Now, mind you, this thing is chirping and chirping and chirping the whole time. Fucking pricks. Anyway, continue. What is your
Number
Your
7.
number 7.
I'm gonna go with a very popular one off of the Metallica Black album, Enter Sandman,
All
as
right, we have our first one.
number 7. I mean, I loved it when it first came out, and maybe because it's been on every single thing that even like your grandparents would know this Metallica
Right.
song, and that's why it's so low on my list at number 7. It's clearly, I think, that probably that biggest or best known song. You know,
It's by far the best known song. It's probably the most known heavy metal song of all time, too. If you really break it down there.
you think that, or would you say "Shook Me All Night Long"?
No, I say Enter Sandman. I think everybody knows it. I think that, I mean, you might disagree with this. I also think that Mariano Rivera using that as his closing, as his entry song for the Yankees for all those years too, helped it a lot too.
I do. I think this is like one of those songs that were always played at stadiums.
Yep.
Anytime you had a closer or you're looking to put the team to sleep, they would always play Enter Sandman. But you know what? On its own merits, it is a good song.
Yeah, it is. And that whole album is a great album, and people shit on it because they changed their sound, they changed their hair and everything. Any other heavy metal or hard
Great
rock
album.
artist puts that album out without the name Metallica, it's the biggest metal or
But
hard rock album of all time.
Sean, it's not Testament that people are getting all crazy about. It was a great album. It was
I
a
love
great
it.
album. I remember buying it when it came out, and I think I bought it on cassette,
So did I.
and I remember just like not taking it out of my Walkman and playing it over and over.
I did the same exact thing. And I remember saying to myself, this is good. This is going to be a monster.
Yeah.
This is going to be a monster, because every song was getting better and better and better and better on that record.
There's a ton of them.
That was my number 4.
Oh, wow. So you had it higher than I did.
Yes. So my next pick at 6, now we can get this out of the way, was the only other song that I duplicated off of an album, and which is obviously the Black Album. And I went with Nothing Else Matters. And the reason why I went with that is because it's very different from Metallica. Fade to Black is a ballad, right? Everybody knows it's a ballad, but it's still a very, very heavy ballad.
It is.
This showed a different type of writing for them, which is what I liked about it. And I think Kirk's solo in Nothing Else Matters is his best solo he's ever done. And he has said, too, it's his favorite solo he's ever written.
I'm gonna hold off on that because I think my number 1, I like the solo on that, but I had that was one I was debating. It didn't make my top 10.
Okay.
I'm not saying that it's not worthy, because there's a ton of worthy songs already.
Yeah.
It's just in my humble opinion, it's the reason why I like Maiden so much. Is like no ballads, but it's a good ballad. I mean, listen,
it's just because I'm more sentimental than you are. I have a big squishy heart, Jeff, and you can't handle that because you're in denial about it. You want to be like me. You want to have a soft side and listen to New Kids on the Block, but you feel you're gonna lose your metal card if you do.
Every bad boy has a soft side. Even Sean Morton.
What did you go for 6?
Off of Master of Puppets, the title track, Master of Puppets. It's a come on, man. It's a killer track.
No, shithead. That's my number 1 pick.
Is really
Master of Puppets is my number 1 pick.
Okay, it's just so fucking killer. Did you ever see the movie Old School?
Of course.
When they're driving around in the van picking up people and that song is playing?
Yeah. It is. I think it's one of the greatest metal songs that's ever been written.
Absolutely.
Puppets is their classic album. Everyone no one will disagree that Puppets is their greatest album. For me, I mean, I remember hearing this the first time, and this is the first Metallica album I ever bought. So I think it's the title. It's the first song too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember buying it at some little dinky place in Jersey City and going home and putting it on, and just my eyes just bulged out because I know this girl in grammar school was big on Metallica. I was like, I want to impress this chick, so I bought the record too. Man, to this day, I still crank that at 12, no matter what.
It's up there. It's in my, like, there are certain, like, if I want to piss people off, or if I want to get something I just want to get really heavy, I do have a go-to song. That's not a Metallica song,
Okay.
but
What is it? You have to tell us now.
it's Painkiller by Priest.
It's a great song. I love Painkiller, even though Touch of Evil is a much better song. But Painkiller is a great, great Judas Priest.
How many songs start off with a drum solo?
Not many.
It
Thank God.
with the drum solo.
Yeah, not many.
And it's a great one. And then just when you don't think you can get any faster, it gets faster.
Oh, yeah. Indians is kind of like that, too, from Anthrax.
I love Priest, but that to me is the definitive Priest song. And I think Master of Puppets is in that same category.
I say me and you take a fucking trip, Jeff. I say me and you take a trip. Let's fly down to Brazil in December. Me and you, just a weekend trip, and we'll go see Knotfest. Slipknot's headlining, Judas Priest is direct support, and Pantera is opening up.
We would have to get into a fight with somebody after that night. I mean,
it'd be me and you fighting. That's definite.
I mean, that is just like...
That's right. And there's 13 of the bands besides, but that's just the top 3.
Super aggressive. Yeah. We got to see about making that happen.
Yeah. 25,000 people, 7 chicks at that show.
How was Rush not on that bill then?
Ugh.
Have you ever gone to a Rush show?
No. And thank God I never will. I hate that band more than anything.
They were pretty good at the Taylor Hawkins benefit.
I skipped right past it.
Oh, you're an idiot.
Nope.
Yes. All right.
Number 5.
Number 5.
I'm running out of picks because you picked most of mine.
I picked one.
First album. Had to go with one off the first album. For me, it's Seek and Destroy.
That is my number 5.
You're number 5 too. Okay, great.
Hey, that's both on number 5s?
Yeah, that's my number 5.
Hey, I'm really cool that happened. I'm glad at least one of them.
Yeah, we only had a couple. I mean, I honestly only thought we were going to have 2 or 3. So far, we have 3, and I still have 2 more picks to go.
Yeah, that's a great one, man. Seek and Destroy.
Yeah, it's a great intro. It's one of those great intro riffs. You know what I mean? And I never forget, like my senior year talent show, and there was a group of kids who were like freshmen and sophomores, and they just played this, and it sucked so bad, like really sucked horribly. One of those memories that sticks in your brain. But I love it. That whole first record again too was so different than anything anybody ever heard at that time.
You know what this whole show has been so far?
What?
It's like we bring up songs, we go, "Oh, that's a great one." Yeah.
Oh yeah, but it's a top 10 list show. Of course, it's going to be like that.
Every song that we bring it up. Oh yeah, I love that.
Because again, you hit the nail on the head before. We're picking a band who is the biggest heavy metal band of all time. Okay, yeah, Sabbath, I get it. Zeppelin, I get it. Metallica is the biggest heavy metal band of all time across the board. Okay,
I don't know if those other 2 bands you mentioned are heavy metal.
Black Sabbath is not heavy metal. They're the godfathers of heavy metal. Don't say Deep Purple, you prick.
I'm not gonna.
Black Sabbath are the godfathers of heavy metal.
First of all, you consider Zeppelin heavy metal?
No, not really.
Put them in the same category as Metallica and Megadeth?
No. And I shouldn't have said Zeppelin. Maybe I should have said
could you say Sabbath and AC/DC are more hard rock than heavy metal?
Sabbath is a metal band. Sabbath is the first heavy metal band of all time.
I think they're more metal with Dio than they are with Ozzy.
Nope. Not even close. Not even close.
I don't think a song like Fairies Wear Boots is a metal song.
Not every song has to be super heavy metal, too, though. Well, again, look at Fade to Black. It's a ballad. Look at, like I said, Nothing Else Matters. They had ballads, too. They did Changes. What's the other one? Planet Caravan is a slow brooding song, too.
All right, let's take a heavy song. I like, especially with a heavy bass line, song like NIB, right?
Mm-hmm. Probably my favorite Sabbath song.
It's a great song. Is that heavy metal or is that a hard rock song?
That's a metal song.
Yeah.
Not all metal. It has to be speed. Not all has to be super crunchy.
Oh, man. Children of the Grave.
Oh, God. And I'm sure you've heard the Nativity in Black covers albums too, right?
Of course.
Bruce Dickinson does it just in a brutal version of Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. Probably the best cover on those records too. And I'll say the second best was Ugly Kid Joe, one of my favorite, most underrated bands doing NIB. That is just a destroying version of that.
Mm.
You gotta check it out again.
On another show that I do, we go deep track takes into albums. We were doing, every week we do a different theme, and we were doing cover albums.
Mm-hmm.
And I forgot about the Sabbath cover album. That's a great cover. I wound up going with Dream Theater, one of the Uncovered. Because I just love Dream Theater.
So do I. But you put that over Nativity in Black. Jesus Christ.
You know what happens? Certain records come on my playlist that I just start to obsess upon. And like
I get that.
For a past month, I have, I'm still going strong with, Dream Theater. I just absolutely, I discovered this band late, and I just really, really dig them. I'm amazed at how tight musicians they are, and just really, real good. Just like the band we continue talking about here. So we got the same number 5, Seek and Destroy, off of the first album. Mm-hmm. Is the first album, Kill 'Em All, is that an album or is it an EP?
No, it's an album. No Left Till Leather came out first, and that was the EP. This is the first full length.
Okay. And this was still on the original album.
Yeah.
Label.
Yeah.
Okay. It
was on Megaforce.
Right. Okay, so we're up to number 4.
Well, my from number 4 was taken with Enter Sandman. So my next pick.
Well, hold on. Let me give you my number 4 then.
Okay.
Okay. My number 4, because maybe you may have, Wherever I May Roam.
Not on my list.
Wow. Really? Over the Black?
Yeah.
Wow. See, oh man,
my favorite. I would have taken Sad But True any day of the week over that song.
I love Wherever I May Roam. Only, I mean, come on, it has such a great melodic line to it. I mean, it's a really cool song. Love that.
It's a great song, but it's not even the top 5 on that album.
And so this definitely didn't even. It's number 4 on my list. Didn't even make your top 10.
Didn't even make my top 16, which I whittled down to 10. Just
so people who are listening to this understand, this is how deep this band is. So when someone texts me and say, "Hey, why are you guys doing a top 10 Metallica?" This is the reason why. When you have a catalog this deep,
exactly.
Can you imagine, like, if you're in the band and you have to now pick the set list and songs you're going to leave off because you're going to be pissing off fans?
Well, that's one of the things about Metallica too, is they go really deep into their set list too, which I think a lot of people agree is a great thing, because they can easily do a greatest hit set.
They can do that. They've also have done this recently. They'll play multiple nights at a venue, not repeat the same song twice.
Yeah, I dig that, especially for a band that I love. Listen, I'm looking at the Metallica album now. We both had Sandman. All right. Now you pick Wherever I May Roam. I picked Nothing Else Matters. Holier Than Thou is better than Wherever I May Roam. Sad But True is better than Wherever I May Roam. And my favorite song on the album, and I didn't put it on the list because it's simply just my favorite song. It's not their best song. It's Through the Never. I think it's the heaviest song on that record. And I dig that one a lot. And here's the thing about Metallica too. Now, people may not understand this about them. There was a thing that came out in 2021 called The Blacklist. Do you remember this?
What was that again?
So The Blacklist was a Metallica. They covered the Black Album for the 30th anniversary of the Black Album. And
you mentioned this on the show before. That's why.
Yes. And they have, just to start, they have pop people, rock people, metal people. Just with Enter Sandman, they have Alessia Cara, who's a pop star. They have Ghost doing a version. They have Juanes, who's a Mexican singer, and they have Weezer doing it. So like there's some songs that have 3 or 4. I think Nothing Else Matters has 11 versions from people. Okay. Sad But True, they did Royal Blood, who's a great band. I know you love them too. They did a cover of that. Holier Than Thou, they have Corey Taylor's version is off the fucking charts. Biffy Clyro, I don't know if you've ever heard of this band. They're an amazing Canadian band. The Unforgiven, they had 7 versions of that. Wherever I May Roam had 4, but Nothing Else Matters has 11 versions of this song. So again, that's something that really resonated with people.
Did you pick Unforgiven on your list?
No, I did not.
That's another song that totally slipped my mind on this when making this initial list too. Another song that I really like, and I know I'm sitting here arguing about not liking slow songs, but
Yeah.
that's still such a
And
great
it's a
one.
powerful song because they've done 3 different versions of it too.
Yeah, but you know what? It's like I don't think James gets the respect as a singer
He
enough.
doesn't at all. And that's one of the things I always push about Metallica is that they're great musicians. And he is a fucking great guitar player. Because Kirk Hammett's another level, you know, he's one of those next level guitar players. But James writes most of the shit.
Yeah, but he's also, you know, it's like in comedy, like when you do, if me and you did the exact same set.
Mine would be better because I'm a better comedian. I have better stage presence. My timing is better. I actually don't stutter and mumble all over my fucking self every time. You know, I am animated. You know, I can control an audience. I can captivate an audience. I mean, I can keep going if you really want.
Yeah, it goes without saying. I come on stage, I sit in a wheelchair and do nothing.
Part of my favorite part about this show is just constantly berating you. You understand that, right?
Yes, I do. But but I'm trying to make a point, and my point is like if I'm talking about something that is like is real to me, I'm going to connect with it more than you,
sure,
and vice versa. And I think that's the thing with James when he's singing these songs, but especially a song like "Unforgiven." You know, you could feel it. You could feel the passion.
Listen to the words, man.
The words, man. The words. Listen to the words. Go for your number 3 because I have a feeling that we are going to start to duplicate this.
You're not going to have this song. I'm telling you right now, you're not going to have this song. This is my one that I picked off of Injustice for All, which some people think is their heaviest record. I tend to agree. I wish it had bass, but that's another story. My number 3 is Blackened.
No, I do not have that. That's your number 3?
That's my number 3. That is one of their heaviest songs. And again, I think
they're leaving off one of my top 3, which is insane.
You don't know that yet. I only have one pick left because you picked my number 1. So Blackened for me, again, first song of Injustice for All. When I heard it the first time, that was the heaviest song I ever heard in my life. So again, I was 12 when that came out. So when I heard that, I literally, like, my eyes just bulged, like really, really heavy. Like they popped out of my head. I was like, what am I listening to? For me, again, I wasn't a fan of like the Slayers and the Testaments and all the rest of the thrash metal that was out there that was faster than Metallica. But for me, what I heard from them, this was the fastest, heaviest thing I had ever heard. And it just stuck with me. It's always been my favorite song on that record. And I think it's a grossly underrated song.
I love when just songs just kind of like resonate with people and they really them. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, it stuck with me. I could tell you exactly where I was. I was in my friend Jonathan Bentley's mother's minivan. We went to Freehold Mall, and I went and I had like $15 on me. What's that?
Good mall.
It's a beautiful mall. I remember buying this tape, and there was 2 girls in the minivan with us, and I couldn't give a fuck about the girls that were in there. Jonathan's doing whatever he wants to do, and I just put this on my headphones, and I just sat back. And I felt it. I felt it from my head to my toes, that song. That's why it always stuck with me. Completely stuck with me.
Okay, it's a good pick. My number 3.
Go.
I've heard the song a billion times. When I was coaching football, teams would come out to an entrance music.
Fuck, you gonna take my last song?
And
really?
Off of Ride the Lightning. For Whom the Bell Tolls.
All right. Well, this is a good show, people.
No. We're not. Hold on a second. It is a phenomenal song.
It's a great song.
I've listened to it a million times. Like, there's very few other songs that, like, when you're coming out of a locker room and that's playing that how can you not get pumped up and psyched? How can you not?
Here's how you know it's a great song. You have For Whom the Bell Tolls and you have Hell's Bells, and they both start with the same gong. So after the second gong,
That bell's not a gong.
Whatever. I took my gummies. So the bell hits, right? And then like right when the second one hits, I cross my fingers to hear the dun, 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 dun. Otherwise, if it's Hell's Bells, I turn it off.
I love Hell's Bells, but it's For Whom the Bell Tolls. Like, let me tell you something. There's two songs in this world that if I had to fight Mike Tyson, these is what I want to listen to. I want to listen to Hallowed Be Thy Name or For Whom the Bell Tolls.
You wouldn't pick Man Eater by Hall & Oates?
I would not pick Man
If you're fighting Tyson?
If I was going to fuck a guy, maybe I would think about putting a Man Eater, okay, which would be an appropriate song. But other than that, we may have to actually cut that line out in the.
No. That's a snippet. That's a snippet that I'm going to play for you every time we work together now on the road. I'm going to open up. Hey, everybody, listen, Jeff Paul here. And it's going to say, if I were to fuck a guy.
Yeah, I'd play Man Eater. Which I said, which is an appropriate song, but if I'm going to fight a dude, I'm putting on For Whom the Bell Tolls.
It's just one of those, dude. It's a perfect metal song.
Now I can't believe. Now I have two left, and you have none. Yeah. I can't believe you don't have these songs on your list.
Go ahead, let's see. I'll tell you why I don't.
Okay, number 2 for me is Sad But True, because you kept bringing it up. I absolutely, it's my favorite song off of the Black Album. I remember when I bought this album, that was one of those things where, like, because it was a cassette, you had to like go back and rewind it. Mm-hmm. And this was my go-to song at the time. What was it, 91? Yep. I don't know if there was a more perfect song that had come out. Again, it could be Hallowed Be Thy Name, which is my favorite metal song of all time. But I mean, this is in my top 5. Sad But True. And then, what Kid Rock recently sampled it too. Well, not recently, but
recently, 20 years ago. American Badass.
Right. Which is I like that song because it's Sad But True.
Yeah, that's a great one, man. It was on my 16. It was one of the ones I cut off.
It never gets boring. I don't know how in God's name you could leave this song off, Sean. How do you leave Sad But True? It's a top 10. Is this an encore song for them? Should be.
This is one of those songs, and I'll never forget Jim Florentine saying this when he saw Guns N' Roses, and he goes, and the second song they played was Welcome to the Jungle. It's their biggest fucking song, and they have it on a second. They don't close with it. Sad But True's like that. They can put that anywhere on the set. They can open with that. They can throw it in the middle. They can close with it. It's a monster. It's a monster song. I had it on my list. That was one of the ones I whittled down.
And then my number 1, which I can't believe you did not put this on. To me, it's insane. Is One.
I hate One. I hate that song.
Listen, first of all, it's a spooky video. It's scary.
Did you have many sleepless nights over watching this video, Jeffrey?
It was disturbing, but just to build up, and then how it, how it starts off and what it is, and then how it just gets so heavy. And you talked about guitar leads. It's a great lead in this. What are you out of your mind?
I'll tell you what I would take over this.
It's my number 1 song.
It wasn't even on my 16.
Oh, you're so. See, this is you. This is you.
Because I'm diverse and I'm right.
Yes, you're diverse. You're like Joe Biden's cabinet. You're diverse, but you're not right. Okay, it's like you started a shitstorm on Facebook this week with my Dio comment. Like,
yes, I did. Because again, he doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame. It's very simple. I love the guy. He's one of my favorite singers of all time. He's the greatest metal voice of all time. Does his catalog hold up?
Yes.
No, it does not. It does not hold up.
Between Rainbow, Sabbath, and his solo stuff? No,
it doesn't.
1,000%.
No.
You're gonna say Depeche Mode belongs in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame over Dio?
100%.
Now your edibles are kicking in.
No, 100%, because Depeche Mode was one of the biggest bands of a whole genre. And they started off their sound in the 70s, changed it in the middle of the 80s, late 80s, early 90s, became one of the biggest bands on the planet.
You talk about a Mount Rushmore of great metal singers.
He's on there.
So therefore, he deserves to be in the Rock and
The
Roll.
catalog does
argument.
not fit the bill. I'm sorry. There's a ton of bands who don't belong in there. We've had this conversation before. And Richie Byrne was kind of trying to go after me with this. And I said, yeah, I don't disagree with you that there's other bands that don't belong in there. I just don't think that he belongs in the Hall of Fame.
Okay, much like I led this campaign to get Pat Benatar into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I am now. This is going to all be about Dio.
Did I tell you when I bumped into him
about who Dio? Or
yeah, not really bumped into him.
You would have destroyed him.
The second to last time that I went to LA, one of the things I wanted to do was every time I would go out there, I would stalk the rainbow and try to meet Lemmy. Lemmy's one of my favorite people who's ever lived on the planet. Okay. Okay, because you're a dick. So I couldn't meet Lemmy. I would sit at the rainbow. I would sit in his chair. I would look at the game screen. His name is on the screen everywhere. Passes away. Okay, so I go to the cemetery. I find out the cemetery he's in. He has a very humble little mausoleum kind of thing. It's only about that big. Has his name. Of course, there's all stuff that's on the ground. There's tons and tons of lipstick prints all over the thing. People are kissing him, leaving Jack and Cokes, whatever. Then I turn out and I see this monster. I'm talking. This has got to be 40 feet long, 20 feet high, and about 20 feet deep. It's this gigantic marble fucking crypt. And I'm like, this has got to be some sort of huge person. It was Ronnie James Dio. It was literally right around the corner from Lemmy. This monstrous, gaudy fucking thing.
So your story is you ran into him when he was already dead?
Yeah, basically. What I was getting at. But even worse than that was when I was walking out of the cemetery, I see all these fucking nerds, right? And there's this crypt that's about 150 feet tall, and it was Carrie Fisher and her mother, Debbie Reynolds.
Oh, wow.
All the Star Wars nerds were sitting around fucking paying homage to her. That's when I ran into Dio, by the way. And I'll tell another time I ran into Dio. My uncle's wife, in 1985, used to work at a IHOP right on Route 17 in Hasbro Heights, very close to Giant Stadium and the Izod Center. And she took a old placemat, and Dio signed everybody in Dio. Vivian Campbell, him, all signed. I had it in a frame forever. And when I moved, I was like, and I threw it away.
Oh, what an idiot.
Yeah, I totally. One of the few things I regret. One of the few things I do regret. But I will tell you, with your pick of one, I would put Creeping Death at number one before the song One.
That was one. If I don't have it down here with me, but so what I did was I went and looked at the Metallica albums, and I was just like songs that I know that I have to put. Creeping Death made my initial list. I think when I first started, I was at 20 something. I'm like, how am I going to cut this in half? And so so my criteria was a couple of things. The first time I heard One and how it just connected me and really wrote me into Metallica. This was the one. Okay. After that, I couldn't wait to listen. And then when the Black Album came out, and Sad But True is my favorite track off of it. That's the reason why it had to be number two. But the first song that I absolutely fell in love with Metallica, I was like, holy shit, I can listen to this band, was One, then Sad But True. And then I started going back into their dark.
I didn't realize that, because again, I make jokes all the time, but you are a couple years older than me, so I figured you would have listened to Metallica from when they first came out. Like you had the chance to see them at Lemoore, back in the early 80s and shit. So that's why I figured you would go a little deeper.
I did. I was more of, and if you saw pictures of me, I was more of a hair metal guy. I liked Dokken. I liked Warrant. I liked Priest. I liked all even though I wouldn't say they were a hair metal guy.
No, only one of those three is a hair metal band.
I loved Cinderella. I loved I loved that whole scene. I loved too.
That's still my favorite scene. That's still my favorite music. 35, 40 years later, that to me, I will put on an 80s metal playlist before I put anything else on. Any day of the week. And somebody posted this the other day. Who do you pick? Do you pick Poison or Warrant?
It's a good one. I'll tell you. Here's the thing a lot of people don't know about Warrant. Poison. Not a lot of albums, and not, they have a very hard time filling out a headline set. Um,
Absolutely wrong.
I'm absolutely right.
No.
Uh, that's why they play this basically the same set all the time. The only way they have 4 albums. I'm even going to include the Richie Kotzen stuff as well. I know you really like Richie, but
Yeah.
I think that's a tough one for me. I just maybe because recently, when I saw Poison, I thought they were great. I'm gonna go Poison.
I think I go Poison too. And the reason why I say that is just because of the amount of hits that they had.
But they don't have a lot of. They don't have They have big hits. They don't have a lot of hits.
You're out of your mind if you think they don't have a lot of hits.
Off the top of your head, give me 7.
Talk dirty to me. Look what the cat dragged in. I want action. Nothing but a good time. Fallen Angel, Unskinny Bop, Let It Play, Ride the Wind, Something to Believe in. Every Rose Has a Thorn. I've already had 10. I haven't even started yet. There's 10 right there.
It's not a big one.
It's a great song. It was a number 4 hit.
Wait, hold on a second. Let me pull up something here for you, my man. Okay. Because I'm gonna pull up their set list, and then you can go and look at set lists from 15 years ago to 2 weeks ago. It's basically
I did not say that they haven't changed their set list up. I'm saying they
don't have a lot of songs.
You're out of your fucking mind. All right, look, I'm going to tell you right now. Here's everything, okay? Off Flesh and Blood, you have Unskinny Bop, Ride the Wind, and Something to Believe in. That's just 3. I like Let It Play. You don't want it? That's fine. That's 3 songs right there. Look what the cat dragged in.
They don't even do it. They do Look What the Cat Dragged In, which is a great song.
Right.
They do Ride the Wind. Okay. Talk Dirty to Me is great. They do a terrible cover of Your Mama Don't Dance.
I'm not a fan of that song either.
I love Fallen Angel.
I think that's their second best song.
It's a great one. Yeah. They do Unskinny Bop. Yeah.
Love that one.
Yeah, I don't love it. I hate Every Rose Has a
So do I.
Nothing But a Good Time.
My favorite all-time heavy metal, hair metal song, by the way.
Okay, so they have Open Up, Say Ah, Flesh and Blood, Look What the Cat Dragged In. They don't have any more albums after that.
They also have
that a commercial.
I mean, Native Tongue should have been a monster. That should have been a monster record, but they weren't. The universe wasn't ready for this album yet with Richie Kotzen. Stand is a great song. Richie still plays it live sometimes, and Fire and Ice is a great song. They don't play that anymore.
I'm trying to think of albums and songs that are. Listen, there are a lot of good songs. There are a lot of, but are they big? But they're not big. I was thinking about this with movies today. What makes them? When you talk about what makes a classic movie or a great movie, is it because it was commercially successful? Could it be something that no one really saw, but it's just artistically really good? I think with Poison, listen, they were fine for their day. They're good. I just don't think they have a very deep catalog. They would be a band that I would say they don't go into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because
they'll never go in.
Yeah,
because they were never taken seriously, is what it is. There's other bands from that era who were taken a little more seriously, and you're right in a way, because the first 3 albums, right? You only say they have 4 albums, but the first 3 albums put out 5, 6, 7 songs each album,
and that's it. That's where it stops. That's why I say when you're playing a headlining set, you got to do 2, like Metallica. They
different level.
Right. They can play 3 nights at Giant Stadium, play for 3 hours and play 3 different sets. Poison can't do that.
No, Poison can't do that. They're always going to be either the headline band with like another headline band co-headlining with them. They're not going to sell out PNC.
Even if they're doing like a club date.
Club date, they sell out. If they're doing Starland, they sell that out. They do Hammerstein Ballroom, they sell it out.
They're bigger than that now. They'll play. They can sell out PNC now after the stadium tour. They got such good buzz off of that tour.
You froze.
So did you?
Okay. I think we can end.
Okay, I'll give you an 80s band before we go.
Okay.
That I think has a much deeper catalog.
Mm-hmm.
Rat.
You are insane. You are sometimes, I think you say things to fuck with me, and then I'm like, no, you know what? He's not smart enough to do that. And then you pull out something like this with Rat, and then I just realized that your taste for music is in the fucking toilet. They're horrible. They have 4 songs.
Listen, you don't know them. They
Round and Round, Way Cool Jr. What's the other 2? I gave them 4, but I think there's only 2.
Did you say Way Cool Jr.?
Yeah. Loving You's a dirty job, but someone's got to do it. We're fucking catchy.
It's a great play on words.
Lay It Down. And that's about it.
It's a great song.
That's it. They got 4 songs. You want to talk about somebody milking a headline set? That's a band right there to do that.
They are a great band. In fact, there was talk that if Molly couldn't do the stadium tour, Rat was considered one of the bands that could fill in.
Never happened. They would lose ticket sales.
They wouldn't lose ticket sales. Rat is a huge band.
There was 2 bands that could have filled in for Motley Crue. 2 bands and 2 bands only.
Would one of them be Bon Jovi?
3 bands only. Bon Jovi, Aerosmith, Guns N' Roses. Only 3 bands that could have filled in that spot.
I think Aerosmith
and keep the ticket sales, and I think Aerosmith would have been the better option personally.
Would Guns N' Roses and Aerosmith, would they have been willing to flip-flop with Def Leppard as co-headliners?
No.
And that's why they couldn't even be on that. That's
yeah. Why. I agree with. I think Bon Jovi. I don't even think Bon Jovi would have flip-flopped, to be honest. I think those 3 have the big egos out of all of them. I think Def Leppard's a little more grounded. I will say, I think another band that could have done this. Who?
Def Leppard and Bon Jovi.
Yeah. I think another band that could have filled in, and I hate saying this, is Journey.
Journey, well, they did that tour already.
Yeah, that's the only band I think that could have filled in, because you got to remember, you got to have somebody with a marquee name, and that's it. There's not many marquee name bands out there anymore.
Before we go, next year, Journey's 50th anniversary, and there's talk of bringing Steve Perry back for that tour.
I would like to see that. And this is what I wanted with Anthrax. I wanted to see, a Belladonna set and bring John Bush out for a couple of songs. So you can't deny that whole era. So I would love to see Steve Perry come out, and then you have Arnold come out and do, most of the set.
Did you hear rumors about something called the Kitchen Sink Tour with Van Halen?
No.
The Kitchen Sink Tour, and this was confirmed, that what they were going to do is Van Halen wanted to do one last big tour, and there's still talks of doing it in some capacity.
Oh, yes, I have heard of that.
Yeah, they would come out, they would go with Dave, Sammy, Gary Sharon, okay, and they would, and each would have done songs from their era. Now, as part of the kind of a tribute show, I don't think you can do something like that as a tour now.
No,
maybe you do it kind of like what the Foo Fighters are doing, maybe
a one-off show. Yeah,
maybe one in England, one in California.
I think it's one show in LA, and that's it. And I think it's at the Whiskey. I don't even think it's at the Forum or anything. I think it's like they pack it into 2,000 seat place.
And you'd have to put that like on some type of page.
You sell it, yeah. You mic it up. You do the DVD. Oh, I would see that in a heartbeat.
But they were talking about getting, a couple of different guitar players, and you would have, Wolf band open up the show, and then he would come on and do a couple of songs, and Alex would play drums, and you bring this back home, and just really, I wish Van Halen would do this.
Well, Jason Newsted was the one who leaked that story.
Right. That's right.
He was one of the people that was supposed to be in it with Joe Satriani.
Yeah,
who's another person I think is overrated.
Joe Satriani.
Yeah. Not a fan.
I think Steve Vai is a better fit.
Yeah, there's a great I don't know if you heard this yet. There's a great version of Cult of Personality that was redone. And it just came out 2 weeks ago with Steve Vai playing the guitar line on it.
I could see him playing that. Same stuff.
It's a little different, but that's one of my favorite songs ever. And I don't know.
Great heavy song.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Hey, listen, man. This was an interesting show. I love these type of shows. I love these lists. It's interesting to see where you're coming from on this, and where we kind of like. It's funny that we met right in the middle with "Seek and Destroy" as our number 5 song,
and we had 4 songs the same. Or 5.
Yeah, but I'm still shocked that you don't have "Sad But True" in your top 10.
It was cut. I did that with Nothing Else Matters. That's why I went the soft side of Metallica.
Yes. Okay. Also, there was one other note I wanted to say about Metallica, and you had added a cover, and I just put songs that Metallica wrote. But another great Metallica cover is "Turn the Page."
Yeah, it's a great one. I think that's the best cover on that album. They do another great one of "Die Die My Darling" by the Misfits.
Yeah.
Which is great. Makes it very, very heavy. And Stone Cold Crazy, they covered a Queen song, and they make it brutally heavy.
But there's a couple of different versions of "Turn the Page." That's the best one.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's. I was asked to do songs that are better than the original when I did this podcast with my buddies the other day, and they wanted the top 3. That was on my. I had like 12 songs. That was on that list.
What else did you put? I'm curious on this now.
I had "Hurt" by 9 Inch Nails was my number 1 with the Johnny Cash version.
I had a feeling
You can't not.
Is it better than the original?
Yes, Trent Reznor.
It's a phenomenal cover. I'm
no,
gonna give you that.
Trent Reznor has said that is not my song anymore. Like that's when you know it's a great cover. I put "I Will Always Love You" by Whitney Houston, covering Dolly Parton.
Great one.
There was another one that "Bad Company" by Five Finger Death Punch.
Cover. I don't know if it's better than the original, but it's a great cover.
Yeah, I thought it that kind of put them on the map.
What about "Train Kept a Rolling"?
Not a fan. Not a fan of that. I'm not a super deep Aerosmith fan, to be honest. But yeah, that's a great thing. Maybe we'll do that on the next on the next one of these lists. We'll pick a top 5. Oh, I picked my number 2 was "Simple Man" by Shinedown.
I don't know how you could pick anything over Skinner's version of that.
This is such a great version.
When my son gets married, I hope he picks that as his song he dances with his mother.
Oh, that'd be nice. That'd be nice.
Great song.
Anyway, right.
Yeah, but now we can't do the show because we just did it right here.
No, we can do it.
We'll go.
People forget.
Sean, have a good week.
You as well.
You're off next week, right?
I'm off next week. I think I have a co-host for you. I'll text you off the air to let you know who it is. And yeah, keep hitting subscribe. We gotta get those likes up a little bit.
We do. Adam, have a good week, and we'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.
Bye.